What's up, guys? Zane for Forward Progress Madden. So, earlier in the year and even late last year, I was a huge proponent of not running coverage defense. Well, I'm going to go ahead and admit right now that my train of thought from last year, possibly I was stubborn as far as, what can you do to generate heat, dictate what your opponent can do on offense, how much time they have in the pocket. I was always a guy that was big on basically telling you to dictate the game. You know how many you're sending, you send it, make them adapt to you. That's kind of how I've always been. Well, this year, unfortunately, as you can tell, you look all over the tips community. People are still trying to put out good tips, but the honest truth is that as far as defense goes, it's a very inconsistent game. It's a game that it's really hard to get the same pressure twice against the same look. Your opponent can block nobody. They can send 5 guys out on routes, and you'll get the craziest heat. And then when they block 6, it's completely shut down, which is fine. But the problem is you may send a certain heat that for some reason it does not come in at all versus 5 guys. But when for some reason they block that running back and add an extra blocker, your zone blitz may come through the A gap for some reason. Just a very weird game. So I've kind of shifted my tune. I still like to dictate the game, but I kind of do it from a different way. You've seen a lot of the defensive videos that I put out this year have been mainly about getting pressure but still maintaining a lot of coverage. I'm not running these instant sack defenses that bring pressure in less than 2 seconds when your opponent's in the shotgun and max protecting. It's not about that anymore. Honest truth is you're trying to force your opponent to take probably 3, 4, 5 at the very most seconds in the pocket before they make their throw. Meaning you're going to have to do a lot of stuff with your coverage-based scheme to make them take their time in the pocket. But you don't want to allow them all day. So what we're going to look at is a formation that some people are running this year. Maybe a lot of people have overlooked in favor of the 4-6 bear under or the 4-4 defenses this year. And that's the big nickel out of the 46 playbook. And what I've done here is I've already set up the depth chart for the Cowboys. What we've got here is we've got our 2 boundary safeties are Jenkins and Skandrick. And the play we're calling is cover 3, as you can tell. The reason I really like this cover 3 is because you've already got default buzz zones. If you aren't running buzz zones on nearly every play this year, I don't know what to tell you. Because everyone's attacking you with out routes. People are attacking you with curls. They're attacking you with fades to outside receivers. If you don't have a buzz zone on the play, you're asking to get beat and beat badly. So having these by default is very nice. And I think the reason I really like this play is because, as you remember last year when I was huge on the 4-2-5 defense, the 4-2-5 had 3 safety positions on the field as well. And the big nickel's no different. The only difference is that I've subbed in cornerbacks for these guys, much like I did last year with the 4-2-5. And these boundary safeties, Jenkins and Skandrick, are in buzz zones by default. So that's great for our setup. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the rest of the personnel. I've went ahead and my 3 linebackers in this scheme are Bruce Carter, Sean Lee, and Ernie Sims. The Cowboys added Sims, more speed for this awesome linebacking core. And now let's look at our linemen. We've got Spencer, Ratliff, and Ware. So, of course, we've got, Ware and Ratliff subbed in at defensive ends. We're going to use them occasionally to rush, but this is going to be solely focused, for the most part in this video, around generating pressure with our outside linebackers. So what we've got here is we've got Carter. He's on a nice little blitz angle. It's an angle at the outside shoulder of the left tackle. He is going to stay on this angle. As you can tell, we've spread our linebackers. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hot blitz Ernie Sims, and he's going to blitz straight down off the edge. Now what we're going to do is we're simply going to place both our defensive ends into deep zones. And as you can see, a little bit reminiscent of the dollar defense that I showed you to shut down quick seams, as the deep zones flare out. Now, another thing you can do is spy Ratliff to kind of help you with over the middle coverage. He's going to sit over the middle. Sean Lee's going to fan to the left. And what we're going to do as our users, we're going to play in this area right here, the right seam. And we're just going to do our best to take away reads until those outside linebackers shed. They are one block shed away from being at the quarterback, whereas if you were to blitz Ratliff, he would have to shed the center, then possibly a guard, and then maybe even a tackle. You never know. So having these outside blitzers, it's best for your coverage defense because they only have to make one shed to get to the quarterback. So we're going to snap the ball, and you'll notice that that is actually Bruce Carter gets quickly off of his block from the left tackle, Jason Peters, who's actually a 96 overall in this game, if you like to worry about overall ratings for your linemen, is on top of Vic pretty quickly. As you can see here, Ernie Sims comes off of this edge. He's maybe not the best guy to rush off the edge, but feel free to place, Ware there if you'd like to, or even Spencer. And the nice thing is that we've got the seams pretty well locked up. Middle linebacker sits on the route by the running back McCoy, and we are using, basically we're just using that right slot. And we see that he's going to go ahead and stick to the seam, and we go ahead and just trade him off and play to the outside because Ware is dropping down the middle of the field. So you can see Ware gets from this position, stays underneath Avant's route. If you were to inside pass lead that, Ware would more than likely get a hand on that, possibly pick it, or, possibly even decapitate Avant over the middle. So very, very good. So once again, the setup for this play is to man a line, spread your linebackers, and then simply just from left to right go deep, spy, deep, and then you can hot blitz Ernie Sims off the edge. And then just simply patrol the right side of the field and wait for the sack. So that play only took, 3 seconds for it the most. Like I said, there's really not a whole lot of consistent instant pressure. There is instant pressure this year, but it's nowhere near consistent. Even the best players are anticipating, that their A-gap heat is not going to get through every time. So as we time it here, we snap the ball, and it's about 3.5 seconds until he gets to the quarterback. So that is that setup. Now, another thing you can do with this is to simply just go with the outside linebackers playing the seams and go with a two-man rush. And that's why we have Spencer and Ware. And again, this is really no different. You've got pretty much the same coverage out there on the field. The only difference is that your outside linebackers are now dropping and your defensive ends are the rushers. And they're going to probably work. One is going to try to angle from the outside to the inside, while Ware is going to try to work his way to the outside of the line. Does take a little bit longer than normal. As you can see, Ware has a little bit harder time. You're going to have to cover a lot longer. And really, this is something that you're going to have to mix in. Probably best off running this by crashing your line down. Just having Ware and Spencer just try to implode the inside of the line and possibly make it so the center can't pick them up after. So as we can see here, when you pinch down, one of the linemen is actually going to try to loop, which doesn't make sense. So we're going to re-blitz Spencer down, spy Ratliff, and we have the play set up pretty quickly. Like I said, just a mix in. This is definitely not the look you're going to want to get very often. So stick with the outside linebackers rushing and then have these players down the seam. So you're going to want this set up. So we've got it all set up. This is the much quicker of the two. A lot easier to get this pressure from the left side of the screen. So if you really want to rack up the stats with your best guys, then go ahead and put DeMarcus Ware there instead of Bruce Carter. So as you can see, we'll put Ware back there. Go ahead and put Bruce Carter at middle linebacker. But issue you're going to run into is you're going to run out of personnel to drop deep down the seam because those are DNs. So be advised that if you're using a 3-4 base team that doesn't have a whole lot of linebackers, then you probably will need to be a little bit more creative with your blitz packages. So that's it for this breakdown. I know this isn't the the best defense in the world to use, but it's actually a pretty good coverage-based defense that not a lot of people are running this year. A lot of people running the 4-6 defense this year, but I think they're overlooking this big nickel package. And this play is perfect in that really all you have to do is man a line, spread the linebackers, and then put 2 guys into deep zones. You already have purples on the field. You basically just have to deep zone a couple guys and spy somebody if you really want to. And you've got great coverage and 3-second heat. So take a look at that. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box below or email me at forwardprogressmadden@gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up on AOL Instant Messenger at Zan71789. Or PM me on any of the forums because I'll try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks, guys.